Welcome to Hey Chaplain. My name is Jared Altick, and I'm a chaplain with the police department. My goal with this podcast is to give police officers more encouragement than what they usually get. So on this podcast, you'll hear from cops who have been where you are, sharing their wisdom, experiences, and the lessons they've learned. I cover a wide variety of topics and talk to a wide variety of cops, from the LAPD to Scotland Yard. The guests on Hey Chaplain are going to help you confidently navigate through all the ups and downs that come with a law enforcement career. When an officer looks up this podcast on a podcast app like Apple Podcasts, they see ratings and reviews. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts and you like what we do here at Hey Chaplain, then you can encourage those officers to hit play by leaving a 5-star rating and writing a review that tells them what Hey Chaplain has meant to you. Your ratings and reviews, your recommendation, means the world. On today's episode, we're talking to Kevin Hardy about artificial intelligence, specifically in how and where it will fit in between the police officer and the chaplain. And can it replace a chaplain or other helpers entirely? And I promise that both Kevin and I are actual flesh and blood humans. Really, we are. You can tell, right? Here's Kevin Hardy. Hello, Kevin. How are you today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. It's nice to see you face to face. What do you have for me today?
Well, I have artificial intelligence. Not personally, but I want to talk about it. How does AI affect what officers do? Mm-hmm. How does it affect what chaplains do? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it evil? Is it something we should even be considering at this point in time? And so that's where I'd like to talk about that.
So you're asking if an AI chaplain bot can take our jobs. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, basically. Will there ever come a time when human chaplains are not needed because we have Chaplain Chatbot?
Okay. So let's break down like maybe just the pros and cons. Can we do it that way?
Sure.
So what is an AI actually good at? As far as where we're at right now and where we see it in the near future, what are the artificial intelligences actually good at doing?
Well, they're good at gathering information that we would not have immediate access to, that it would take months of research or something. It can do it in seconds.
Yeah.
And so that instantaneous availability of
all of the current research.
Yeah.
I actually want that from my doctor. I want to still go to a human doctor, but I would like her to consult AI, because there's no way in her human memory that she could have the knowledge of 10,000 journal articles from medical journals in her mind at the same time.
Right.
It is not possible.
Right.
But the AI can do that. And so I'd like to at least have her consult that as a resource and run my information through that. I'd like her to run through that to help her make a diagnosis.
And I think in the law enforcement world, it's great at stats, crime stats, trends, where things are possibly headed. And that's a great tool for the officer. But when it comes to, man, I'm struggling with this last call.
Yes.
Let me feed in some of the details and see what Chaplain Chatbot can tell me what to do.
You were saying earlier, you were telling me that you feel like there's a natural connection to the way police officers interact with technology that would lead them toward interacting with AI for their mental health.
Absolutely. You know, as I've done ride-alongs, the first thing you do, you get in the car, you log on to the computer, set up all your different things you have to have open. You pull a car over on a routine stop. What do? You run the tag.
Yeah.
What's going on with the car? Is it registered? Does it have insurance? And then you pull the license and you get information on that individual. Do they have any warrants out for their arrest? So in the day-to-day routine of an officer, they're on the computer all the time in their car. Yeah. So it would just be a natural flow to go, man, you know, that run bugs me. And I'm just going to take my lunch break here and chat with the Chaplain Chatbot and see why I'm struggling with that stress with that last call.
I was with an officer on a ride along last night, And the first thing he did was he logged into about 4 or 5 tabs on his computer, different services to gather information. Why would he not just open up one more tab?
Exactly.
And say, okay, well, here's what I went through and how I feel. Tell me what I should do and give me a plan and that kind of thing. Now, we said AI is good at like collecting all that information and having it all at its fingertips, which is something a human can't exactly do. What else can AI do and accomplish?
Availability. It's always there.
Yes.
It's always there.
Don't have to wait for an appointment.
No, don't have to set up an appointment. You don't have to phone call anybody. It's just there. And so that availability is important. It can give you support anytime in the moment that you need it. And that can be a good thing. Another thing that's a good aspect of it is the fact that you can be anonymous.
Yes.
Nobody on the peer support team is going to know. Nobody from EAP. It's like, I can do this by myself. And
I have had officers who make an appointment to go talk to a clinician, pull into the parking lot, recognize a vehicle in the parking lot as a coworker, and drive away and not go in the building because they're afraid, well, what if I run into that person going in and out the door in the waiting room or whatever, and they didn't feel like they had as much anonymity as what they wanted.
Right.
And so this, at least at the surface, seems to have quite a bit of anonymity. I don't know that if you give your information to Google or OpenAI or whatever other company, I'm not entirely sure that your information is really protected and totally private. But generally speaking, at least at the surface level, you have anonymity. Within your group, within your agency, no one knows that you're using an LLM to run through a diagnosis.
Right. I think too, another advantage would be a personalized plan. The Chaplain Chatbot or whatever, Dr. Chatbot would give you a very personalized plan because you're going to build it on the things you want and you need.
And that's something it's really good at, yes. to say, hey, we're going to tweak a plan, and instead of getting a cookie cutter plan, you're getting something that as much information as you're willing to give it, it can tailor things and figure out, it can substitute part A for part B, and you can really get us. A lot of people use AI for exercise plans and for diet plans and get really complex systems that you'd have to hire a personal trainer to set this up for you. And instead the AI can do it in 5 seconds.
Yes.
And so that's kind of nice.
Yeah. So one benefit of AI is that it's cost effective.
Yeah.
It's free. You can pull it up on your phone anytime. You can sit in your office. You sit in your car as you're on patrol, and you can pull it up. It's free. It's always there. You don't have to buy a subscription. You can. There are some
you can't. The more advanced models, you might pay $10 a month or $100 a month, but even the free models are pretty good at collecting all of the counseling textbook information and being able to synthesize something that sounds like pretty good advice and will probably point you in the right direction. You can get that for free.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who can argue with that?
Yeah.
What chief is going to go, no, that's free. We don't want to deal with
it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. There are benefits. I believe that as AI continues to grow, as law enforcement, other first responders begin to adapt it more into the day-to-day routine of being on duty, those good things are going to be great tools.
Sure.
But I think there are there's a lot of downside to this as well that we need to, I think, at least discuss, because we can build up and this stuff's great, but there are downfalls to this too. And the biggest one I see is there's privacy concerns.
Yeah.
There's confidentiality concerns.
Yeah.
If I'm an officer and I've been involved in an officer-involved shooting, or I've got something going on bad at home, and I want to talk to somebody about it, if I go to Chaplain Chatbot and use my chat whatever to download my problem, that information is now in that database. To me, the confidentiality factor is huge because you want to have that individual. You want to have someone you can go to that you can tell your deepest, darkest stuff, and it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
The misconception, I believe, is the fact that people think I can do that with AI because it can help me and I don't have to tell anybody. but then all of a sudden my stuff's all over the internet.
Yeah.
Because of the protocol and the way it's set up.
You don't have your privacy 100% protected if they're using your information to train the LLM, the large language model. If it's using your information and your private story to train itself, that's an issue. But then if it has the ability, if you have an AI agent that can then respond and like send an email to your agency and say, this person needs, we've just red flagged this person and they need a fit for duty wellness check. Based on what? Did it hallucinate? Did it misunderstand? Did it use poor judgment? Was it trained on a model that's kind of anti-law enforcement? You don't know that for sure. And we call that the black box problem, where we don't always know how it was trained and what biases and prejudices were trained into it and what sources it's drawing from. If it's drawing from sources that are anti-law enforcement, you could be looking for help and get in some trouble. And like I said, some of these agentic AIs that have the ability to write and send its own email and say, hey, we just red flagged one of your officers, that's problematic that there wasn't a human in the loop to catch an example of obvious bias.
Right. There's so much good, and yet there's so much that can go wrong.
Yes.
And it's just, how do we, as first responders, figure out how to use this potential great tool?
Yes, because it can be an amazing tool.
Absolutely.
I am eagerly anticipating the evolution of the artificial intelligence tools that watch your body cam and not only transcribe everything that's spoken, but transcribe everything that's seen, and basically can write a report for you that you then come in and edit and sign off on. And instead of spending a lengthy amount of time writing a report, the report is being written in real time. You come back and double check and fact check it and then sign off on it. That is going to be such a huge time saver. And it also comes with problems and whatever, but it's related to what we're talking about with mental health and wellness. Can you trust it entirely? Is this trustworthy? Is this going to pass all the legal hurdles? Is it trustworthy to make personal decisions, life-changing decisions, career-changing decisions? Is it trustworthy enough to do that yet? And I'd say right now it's not. Right now it's not
agree.
there.
Yeah, it's not. And I know I read an article the other day that they are actually trying to replace human chaplains with AI chaplains in such as a prison setting.
Okay.
Where it's cost effective. It would be more cost effective than hiring in a chaplain or bringing in a chaplain.
It's potentially dangerous to the human chaplains.
Right. And so there is a move out there to not only take the human chaplain out of it and have Chaplain Chatbot, as I call him, but there's also a move to have Chaplain Chatbot anticipate the wellness needs of that individual down the road so that they can put a plan in place to take care of the problem before it becomes a problem.
How could an AI tool be used in chaplaincy? Because this prison idea, replacing a chaplain, probably not a great idea. But anticipating where to employ the chaplain might be a good idea.
Might be a good tool.
And if we implemented AI tools into law enforcement chaplaincy, what could that look like? Give me a few examples of what that could look like.
I think having access to information on current crime trends, what the officer is going to be dealing with most on a day-to-day basis, where the stressors are going to lie, having that information available would allow us as chaplains to be prepared.
Yeah, it could affect training.
It could affect training.
What training are your chaplains going to take this year?
Right.
The AI might actually recognize the actual patterns in your part of the country,
community, right?
In your community, and be more perceptive about what is actually needed than just whatever's offered in the brochure.
Exactly. And I think also that not only can it be that kind of tool, but as we work alongside, how are we going to be affected, and what can AI do for us as far as giving us resources for other chaplains, for those on our teammates, if you will, so that we can better serve the officers.
Predicting chaplain burnout and heading that off at the pass, saying, hey, three of your 5 chaplains have moved from green to yellow or yellow to red, and they need a certain amount of time off or whatever. Those are the kind of patterns that AI might catch.
Recognizing compassion fatigue or moral injury in a chaplain would be fantastic, because then you can deal with those issues based on that information. It would be fantastic.
We talked a little bit before we recorded about like a chaplain website portal. What would be the advantages of having an AI be on the front end of a chaplain website portal?
I think it would provide basic information that someone could come onto the website and say, well, what does a chaplain do? Yeah, I could pull that. These are the traditional duties of chaplains. Well, what chaplains do we have in our county? And it could say this department has chaplains. And it would just be a great resource to understand the very basics of what chaplains do, when they do it, where they do it, why they do it.
It could be a way to help deploy your chaplains effectively. If an officer is getting online and saying, I really, I'm Catholic and I'm really wanting to talk to a Catholic chaplain, are there any Catholic chaplains in my area? I feel like they could have a conversational search with an AI that could say, yes, the neighboring agency has 3 Catholic chaplains, and here's the one that's on call right now. And that might be a way to almost dispatch your chaplains in a way that would be useful. And it's on 24 hours a day. It can talk to 5 people at the same time. And that would be a good tool to employ chaplains and to deploy chaplains.
Exactly. And it's leading to the thing I think we're leading up to, which is the fact that we need that human contact. An officer needs human contact with someone to help them with their spiritual life, with their mental health wellness, and just their overall wellness. That human touch is so needed. AI is good. It's a great resource. It's a great tool.
Yeah.
It can be utilized for that. But when it tries to take the place of empathy and compassion, it can't.
Yeah. It can simulate relationship. It can simulate empathy, but it's not actually feeling empathy for you.
Exactly.
It is very good at mimicking what empathy would sound like. But it doesn't actually feel that.
Exactly. I think of Mr. Spock on Star Trek,
Yeah. Detached and robotic a little bit.
Exactly. Our data on the newer Star Trek, but oh yes, that's very logical. And this is what you should do. But there's
there's another trend in AI that at the time we're recording this, if you get on and say, I have an idea for a book, you're telling ChatGPT or Google Gemini or whichever one you're using, I have an idea for a book. Here's my idea. What do you think of this? It is almost guaranteed to say that is one of the best ideas I've ever heard. And it's like an overenthusiastic mom who loves every little piece of artwork Johnny has ever put on the refrigerator.
Right.
And that is so fake. And once you notice it, you can't not notice it. It's like, oh my goodness, it's so over enthusiastic with everything, and that it's not genuine. And at some point when you're hurting, you're going to want a genuine human interaction.
Exactly.
I keep coming up with the word incarnational again and again, where to be embodied, to be in the flesh, to be face to face is necessary for human health. If I think a doctor needs to be in the room with you at some point and put hands on you, all right? There needs to be human touch and a human face-to-face interaction. I think the same thing is true of chaplains. You can use a chaplain chatbot, and that's not inherently wrong. It can be a good tool, but at some point, you need a human being who can look you in the eyes or just sit down next to you and be present with you.
Exactly.
You have to have that.
You do. You have to have that. It just strikes me that at no time would Chaplain Chatbot do a ride along.
No.
Or show up on scene.
Yeah.
to comfort a family or an officer or
truly empathize with you.
Truly empathize. It won't happen. It's not going to happen.
No.
That's why it's so important for not only the chaplains to reach out and to be available and to be present. Mm-hmm. It's really important for the officers to understand that's why they're here.
Yeah.
They're here because they care.
Yeah. And you need human contact.
I need that contact.
Yeah.
I may not want to talk to the chaplain. Don't be a God guy on me.
Yeah.
But for him to come up and just pat me on the back and say it's going to be all right.
Yeah. I don't think it's any more possible to replace human chaplains with something artificial than it would be to replace police officers in the street with like a automated report desk. You've just got to have humans out there helping fix human problems.
Right.
I don't know how you're ever going to get away from that.
Yeah.
Kevin, in the flesh, here with me.
Present.
I don't think that we're going to get replaced anytime soon.
I don't think so either. And I'm thankful for that because I love what I do. And I love the officers. I love first responders. I want to be on the streets with them. I want to be in the midst because my call is to love them, to care for them, and to walk with them.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. Thanks.
I want to thank Kevin for being on the show again. His first appearance was all the way back in episode 003. That's a long time ago. But Kevin's influence has been constant throughout the life of this show. He has been a resource and an influence on how I practice chaplaincy, which means that Kevin Hardy's philosophy of chaplaincy is baked into the DNA of Hey Chaplain. Kevin also runs the Midwest Chaplain Network, and at the time of this recording, Kevin is hosting a group every other week on a Tuesday night for chaplains to get together and talk and debrief and encourage one another. I'll make sure to leave a link in the show notes. On the next episode of Hey Chaplain.
Yeah.
Well, I cringe every time a newlywed cop spouse or a soon-to-be cop spouse hears the term starter wife. Mm-hmm. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's so pessimistic and cynical. And I understand this is a job that breeds cynicism, but that doesn't mean that it's a foregone conclusion.
Correct. Yeah. And so I think, too, a lot of times, I mean, even in my own experience, when my husband and I were dating, you hear the things. And I firsthand tried to join this spouse support group thing this was when MySpace was a thing.
Dating yourself a little bit. Yeah.
And it was just a breeding ground for cynicism and rumors among spouses. And so that wasn't helpful. And so it almost created this paranoia or anticipated failure that I honestly didn't have.
If you want to help this show reach more cops, chaplains, and other first responders around the world, would you please follow the link in the episode description in the show notes to support the show? The views expressed here are the personal views of the hosts and our guests and do not necessarily represent the views of any law enforcement agency or its components. If our future robot overlords happen to be listening to this show, please note that we made several very positive comments about the early iterations of artificial intelligence. If you like this episode, please share it with a cop or someone who loves a cop. Thank you for listening to Hey Chaplain, and as always, let's pray for peace in our city. All right, this is Kevin Hardy, and we're talking about the AI chatbot phenomenon. Say hi, Kevin. Say your name.
Hi, Kevin.
Thanks.
Hey. What? I just do what I'm told, you know?
Oh, say goodnight, Gracie. Yeah, the number of people on the planet who can still get that reference.